Welcome to the Behind the Art Inspiration podcast. This is a special edition where we will delve into the creative processes and stories of 14 artists around the world. In these episodes, we go behind the scenes with artists who are part of the International Online Art Collective, learning about their inspiration, challenges, and techniques while collaborating on our chain reaction project, beginning with one single piece. Each piece informs the next, provoking a chain of other artworks until we have created a total of 100 works, assembled into one big multimedia installation. In this episode, we have the pleasure of interviewing artist Ina, and I'm going to have you say your last name.
Malostovker.
I
know how to say it.
I know, from Miami, Florida. Through our conversation with Ina, we'll gain insights into her creative process and the inspirations that drive her work. I'm your host, Caroline Karp, and I'm excited to bring you this episode from my DC studio. So sit back, relax, and join us as we go behind the art and discover the fascinating world of Ina.
Yay.
How are you doing today, Ina?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. How are you, Caroline?
Good, thanks. So in a previous episode, I was interviewing artist Wendy Bale, who we all know and love. And
yes.
She was talking about one particular project that when I did a little bit more research, I realized that you then reacted to. And she talked about her lone wolf with the red scarf.
Yeah, that was a beautiful piece.
And she, I believe, said that it happened at the same time of the Ukrainian war, like
yeah, when I received the piece, it was like right after the war was declared. And to me, I mean, she has a wolf in a red cape over a white and blue background. And when I saw it, of course, lizards are kind of my thing. And, I photograph a lot of lizards. And immediately I had the idea what to do with it. Of course, it's a lone animal, so it has to be a lizard. And I wanted to change the background to reflect the political situation, and I made the background blue and yellow in the colors of the Ukrainian flag instead of blue and white. And this was also the first piece where I decided to come out of my comfort zone a little bit. Being a photographer, the previous links in the chain, I have done either photography or digital art, which is what I feel most comfortable with. But this one, I wanted to try something different, and I did sort of a collage with acrylic paint, which was the first time I, tried that. So I cut out my lizard and, stuck it on there. It took a few tries because first was too small, two didn't fit, two whatever didn't quite work out. But then, and painted the background in acrylic, which was, for most people, it's like, whatever, acrylic paint. But for me, it's like, I'm using a brush.
It's kind of like glue. Did you notice that it's kind of a glue itself?
The paint?
Did you know that?
Yeah, well, I learned that after, but I don't remember now what I glued it with. I know it was an acrylic medium that I glued it with. I should have.
Now, so are you most comfortable with photography?
I am. I've done that for quite a few years now. Photography and digital art is, what I do.
Well, we're not allowed to show the artwork, but I have had the privilege of actually seeing some of your digital work being put on. I have one of the canvas boards here. It's got a drawing that is not part of this. It's a different project I'm working on. But if you can imagine, tell us the process that you used to get a photograph on here. It's absolutely gorgeous how you did it, because these are kind of rough, right? And what you did, tell us what you did, because I really love it.
Yeah, I wanted to imitate, what everybody else does. So I printed my pieces on canvas and cut it to the size. Well, I printed them 10 by 10, which is the size of our canvas boards. put some varnish on it, which I've learned now you have to varnish your artwork. The canvas that it was printed on is white or beige, some kind of light color. So I painted the border just with a marker. I painted the border of the canvas so that you wouldn't have the white edge, and then mix the color to match the photograph to paint the border of the canvas board so that it would look all as one piece.
And another one of your links that I was really fascinated by, because in our process, we're showing sort of a behind the scenes in process of what we're doing, right? And so I was watching as you were producing the one with the feather, and then you used something to capture the light. And talk about that one a little bit.
The feather, I got a link from Greta that was, it had something blue, like light blue, and it gave me like this very, very light feeling. And I immediately thought, well, feather is just fits perfectly. And yeah, I put it on the floor. It's like a white tile floor and lit it with the blue light, but I used I don't even know what it's called, some kind of like reflective paper that reflects just like a wrapping paper,
like mylar, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know, like what they use for candy wrap, but it's a bigger. It was some gift wrap. I don't know that I keep all kind of things for you never know what comes in handy in photography. So I use that paper, put it kind of above the feather, and I shone the light onto the paper so that it would reflect onto the feather.
Mm-hmm.
The paper was kind of like a ceiling for the feather, and so it reflected the light onto the feather. So I had one light shining into that paper to give like different color reflections, and the other light had a blue gel on it to give it a bluish color.
Right. And so it almost has the effect of, when we see it in person, it's so exciting that it's floating. And
yeah, that's because I put it on the reflective surface. It's basically on my floor. It's got a white tile and it's reflective. So because the light is reflecting below the feather, it looks like it's floating.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite thing to do in photography, is playing with this little setups at home to make things look like, when you're looking at it, it doesn't look like it, but in photograph you can create things.
Do you work mostly at night so you can control what light you're having?
Well, for this I had to wait till it got dark.
Mm-hmm. And Ina's at her gallery right now, so you might hear some background noises, but that's a good
sorry, there's all kinds of noises. Yes.
That means that there's somebody there. Describe your experience at the beginning, starting this as a photographer? Because I think that some people might have felt a little intimidated by using the canvases, and then so what you've learned, and then how you feel about it now.
Well, I immediately knew I was gonna print it and just take a photograph or create digitally something and stick it on the canvas board. I didn't even take the boards out of the packing for a while because I don't paint straight on the board. I don't use it. And then with time, as I started learning a little bit about painting, and this project was like a major push for me to actually do something straight on the canvas board. So this lone wolf was one where I used acrylic and a little collage. And then I think for the next round, I went back to digital, if I remember that correctly. And the last round, I created the digital work. I had I got something from Ruth where she was talking about her heritage. And most pieces that I get, I have an immediate reaction, almost immediate. Like at first you look at it and like, oh my God, what am I going to do with it? And then in the next like hour or two, you get an idea what exactly you're going to do with it. Sorry. And But this one was like, I looked at it and looked at it, and I'm like, oh my God, there's no way. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. But Ruth actually had a narrative where she was talking about her heritage and how she's, how she's inspired by that.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, her narrative is what sparked the idea for my piece there. And I realized that actually my heritage, maybe it's a little complex, but I don't really feel represented by it. What I feel represented by more is my art as a photographer, my eye. And I had previously painted my eye in a watercolor as an exercise,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought, okay, let me just photograph that eye and create a digital collage with that digitally. So I made an eye, I put in the feather, I put in little flowers. I created a digital thing that I was going to print. And I'm like, my friend looked at it, which I know we're not supposed to share, but it's a very close friend. And he looked at it and he's like, you should paint this. And so I had the digital thing created, but I ended up painting it after all, just using my digital creation as a
So in your digital creations, you're not just simply going and photographing things, you're actually overlaying different, like I saw one with birds. Actually, I saw two with birds. You tell us about how you're using different images to make one image, is what I think you're doing.
yeah. I mean, I use Photoshop and I layer multiple photographs and different textures and effects and just make things match so it looks like one image where the light all comes from the right direction, where everything looks right, except that that didn't actually happen.
And the one with the moon looks like it's painted, but it's not, is it?
No, it's a photograph. I have a photograph of a moon. I had a photograph of birds and trees, and I blended them all together.
Mm-hmm. It'll be so
Yeah.
exciting for us to, we're able to talk about it, but to actually see them in person will be, really amazing
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see them all in person.
all together, right? Because we've only seen
Yeah.
them digitally. We haven't, I mean, I've seen mine and you've seen yours, but, we haven't seen them
Right.
in
But
person.
even mine, when I see them digitally, and after I've printed them and
Yes.
pasted them on the board like that,
Mm-hmm.
it looks a whole like different. It, you know,
Yes.
looks a lot better in person.
Where can people find you? Where's your gallery? Like, where can they find out about you and your work? And you also sell these really cool coloring books too, if you want to show them.
Coloring books.
Yeah.
Yay. Um, well, I have a website.
Okay.
Well, they can't really see it, but I have 5 coloring books now.
Which is incredible.
Yeah. That are all based on my photographs. Some have facts about lizards or bugs or butterflies. One is alphabet and one has activities,
Yes.
like some
So Ina, what is your website?
text activities or some visual activities. But huh?
What is your website?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My website is I am, like my initials, I am photoart.com.
Okay. And so that'll be in the show notes as well
Can you hear
as,
me?
yeah, I can hear you. So in the show notes will also be the where you can find out about our chain reaction project, our website. And I want to thank you for joining me today and everybody
Thank
else for
you.
watching and listening as we share our love of connection, collaboration, and art. So do you have anything else to say before you leave?
No, come see me in Miami.
Okay, I will.